name, please?
Phil Fierro.
Mr. Fierro. Okay. All right. We're on the record in Fierro versus Fierro. This is case number 09-13148. The record should reflect that Mr. Fierro is on the phone here for this hearing today. We have Mr. Brzezinski present from friend of the court. This is set for a show cause hearing regarding payment of support. Mr. Brzezinski, can you tell me where things are at with this case today?
Yes, Your Honor. This hearing was adjourned from September 20th after the defendant appeared before referee legal. The referee recommended that the defendant be found in contempt of court as he's had available resources to pay all or some portion of the amount due, and he was ordered to pay $4,500 by today's court date or appear before Your Honor, and that payment has not been made.
Okay. What are you asking the court to do today on behalf of friend of the court?
The friend of the court would be seeking for the defendant to be found in contempt of court pursuant to the referee's recommendation, as the $4,500 payment was not made.
Okay, and would this be a first finding or a subsequent finding?
This would be a second finding of contempt.
Okay. All right, Mr. Fierro, were you able to hear all of that?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, so I need to go through a few things with you with regard to your rights. First of all, as indicated by Mr. Brzezinski, you are being charged with contempt for failure to pay child support. Because this would be a second or subsequent finding, the maximum penalty you could face if you're found guilty would be up to 90 days in jail. Do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
Also, because there is a potential jail time penalty involved, you do have the right to have an attorney. If you can't afford an attorney, one would be appointed for you at public expense, or you can proceed on your own without a lawyer. Do you understand your rights with regard to representation?
Yes, Your Honor.
How did you want to proceed in that regard?
Currently, I have almost zero money. I was hoping to have this money on Thursday, and that fell through, and hopefully I would have it this week. So I don't know if that's going to matter for anything. I was negative $2,900 in my bank account for the past 8 weeks, which that bank account got shut down. I just opened a brand new one with Chase on Wednesday to try to get some money in there, which was like $140 to start it out. So I don't have a whole lot as of today.
Okay, well, I can tell you what your options are for today. You can request a court-appointed lawyer, and the court would refer that out and then set this for a hearing at a separate date. Or you can waive your right to have a lawyer and you can plead guilty to the contempt today. Do you understand those two choices?
Okay. Yes. Then I would like to get public representation.
Okay. So the court will enter a not guilty plea on your behalf today with regard to the contempt charge. The court will refer this to Mr. Gilo's office. And so the lawyer's name is Gary Gilo, and his office will be contacting you, Mr. Fierro. When they contact you, it's important that you follow up with that. They're going to look at your financial situation and see whether or not you qualify for a court-appointed attorney. Either way, we'll set this for a hearing at the next available date, and you'll be notified of the date and time of that hearing. If you're able to make any payments or you want to talk further with a friend of the court, then I would encourage you to stay in contact with Mr. Brzezinski as we get closer to that hearing date. Do you have any questions about that?
Not about that. I do have a question about being held in contempt of court for 2 times. This would be the only first one that I can recollect since 2009 when the case started.
Okay, well, that's something that we can look at for purposes of that next hearing. Obviously, if you either have or you haven't, so that's something that we can check with our records.
Okay.
All right, Mr. Brzezinski, as to this file, anything further that we need to address today?
No, Your Honor, and the previous finding of contempt was September 8th of 2010.
Okay, so Mr. Fiero, I don't know if you heard that, but back in September of 2010, so it's been quite a while, but our records do reflect that you had a contempt finding back then.
Yeah, I don't remember since it's been so long. Okay.
Okay, thank you. You're free to disconnect at this time. Again, make sure that you stay in touch with Mr. Brzezinski at Friend of the Court.
Okay, when would I find out about the next hearing so I make sure I'm a part of that? Or would I find that from Gary Fellows?
We'll send you notice, but you're free to contact Mr. Gilo's office at any time as well.
Okay, very good.
Okay, thank you. You're free to disconnect at this time.
All right, thank you, Your Honor.
We have Mr. Burke perhaps trying to connect here. And you just need to unmute.
Okay, all right. Sorry, I'm new to this.
That's all right. Can you tell me your name, please?
Eric Burke, Eric with a C, B-U-R-K-E.
All right, thank you. We're on the record in Burke versus Burke. This is case number 0913013. The record should reflect Mr. Burke is present today by video. Mr. Brzezinski is here on behalf of Friend of the Court. Mr. Brzezinski, can you tell me where we're at with this file today?
Yes, Your Honor, this hearing was adjourned from September 20th after the defendant appeared before referee legal. The referee recommended that the defendant be found in contempt of court. As since April of 2022, he has had the ability in periods where he was employed and still did not pay his obligation, and he receives monthly income from the VA. He was ordered to pay $2,500 by November 6th or appear before Your Honor this morning, and no payment has been received to date.
All right, and would this be a first or second or subsequent finding of contempt, Mr. Brzezinski?
This would be a first finding of contempt.
Okay. All right, so Mr. Burke, we need to go through a few things with you with regard to your rights in this case.
May I? Okay, I'm sorry. I just everything's wrong here.
All right, well, let me go through your rights and then we'll see where we're going to go for purposes of today's hearing. First of all, you need to understand that because you're being alleged to be in contempt of a court order for failing to pay child support, that the maximum penalty you could face would be up to 45 days in jail. Do you understand that?
I'd rather wait for a lawyer, please.
Okay, I'm not asking whether you agree with that. I'm just asking whether you understand that that's the penalty you could face if you're found guilty of contempt for failing to pay child support.
I'm going to wait for a lawyer, if you don't mind, Your Honor. I'm not trying to be disrespectful at all.
Are you saying you don't understand what the maximum penalty is?
No, I need someone to explain it to me.
What don't you understand about the possibility that you could face up to 45 days in jail if you're found guilty? What don't you understand about that?
I'll wait for a lawyer, please.
All right, you're not subjecting yourself to any criminal penalties by saying whether or not you understand the maximum possible penalty. So you don't have the right to remain silent on that question. Do you understand that or don't you?
I understand, but I'd rather just have some representation for me before I continue.
I get that. I understand that. Okay. And I'm not going to make you make any statements on the record here today that could expose you to criminal liability. But it's my job to make sure that you understand what your rights are. You get that?
Yes.
Trying to make sure that you understand what your rights are and what you could face. I'm not trying to get you to say something that's going to hurt you. Do you understand that you have the right to have a lawyer and that if you couldn't afford one, one would be appointed for you at public expense? You
Yes.
also have the right. You also have the right to represent yourself. You understand those rights.
Yes.
Are you gonna hire your own lawyer? Did you want to see if you qualify for a court-appointed lawyer?
Court appointed. Because I don't live in Michigan, so I need that'd be too expensive. I can't afford it.
Okay, so I'm gonna refer you to an attorney named Gary Gilo. He's our court-appointed program administrator. He's gonna review your case to determine whether or not you qualify for a court-appointed lawyer. If you do qualify, then he'll appoint a lawyer for you and you'll be informed of who that is. When his office contacts you to make that determination, that you need to cooperate with them, and if you want to have a court-appointed lawyer, and provide the information that they need to make that determination. If you don't supply that information to them, then you just won't qualify. Do you understand that?
I just don't understand why. I've been honest with my son's mom and honest with the friends of the court, and I started a new job that I really like, and I make a decent amount of money, and I was just going to start paying it back. I don't get why I'm in trouble.
It sounds like because you haven't made any payments since April of 2022.
I was unemployed. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to sound brash.
Something's happened.
I'm sorry.
Something's gone on since April of 22, and we'll get it straightened out. And if you have a reasonable reason for not paying, then you won't be in trouble. If you don't, then you might.
Sorry if I sound brash. I it's very, very frustrating.
So the court will set this for a hearing. You'll be notified of the date and time of that hearing by the court. And you'll be contacted again by Mr. Gilo's office for a determination. It's important that you follow up with that contact, okay?
Yeah, that's fine. I have no choice, right?
You have lots of choices, and Mr. Gilo, will be able to advise you on that as your lawyer.
Yeah, he looks like he's 12 years old.
So first of all, that's not Mr. Gilo, that's Mr. Brzezinski. And
I know. I understand. I understand.
Certainly by personally insulting people involved in the process, you're not going to help yourself.
I'm just, Your Honor, I apologize. I'm frustrated. I've been trying to fix this for months and months and months.
Okay, well, we'll see where we go from here. But again, insulting people involved in the case is probably not going to help your cause. So you can find a way to deal with your frustrations. We'll see if we can get this figured out.
All right, Your Honor. Thank you.
That's all for this hearing today. Again, look for the notice of the date and time of the next hearing in the mail, and you're free to disconnect.
Hey, I'm sorry I said that about you. I apologize.